Hola amigos and welcome back to Montreal. I am right next to a main road. Let's try that again, shall we? Hola amigos and welcome back to Montreal in Quebec in Canada. This video is the third part of my 7-part series coming from Montreal, in addition to the one I did 7 months ago in the winter. So far in this Montreal series we have been here near Christmas in freezing cold temperatures. We have seen the artwork down Boulevard Saint-Laurent, we've been up Mont Royal and we've explored Old Montreal. But today we've come to an area that may be slightly lesser known in terms of tourism. You know, this is my second time in Montreal now and I didn't know this area existed up until a few weeks ago. I'm in an area called Hochelaga-Maisonneuve, which is very much part of Montreal's origin story. It's an area that's slightly residential. It's lesser known, as I said, in terms of tourism. It's close to the Olympic Park, it's close to the Botanic Gardens, a planetarium, an insectarium. I've never said that word before, that's the first. And today we're going to have a look around. So on that note, let's get going. Now you might notice that I'm looking a bit flushed today, at least I feel it, because summer in Montreal is scorching, and it's another similarity actually with the UK. You know, it's not that heat that you would have in Asia or even Mexico, because obviously Montreal is on a similar latitude to the UK and it's just that sticky, horrible, humid heat. So my Mexico tan may be going, but my Canada tan is coming. So the thing about Hochelaga, I said origin story, and this is effectively the old village, the original village that Jacques Cartier stumbled across, and the locals took him up Mont Royal, so it's a huge part of Montreal's history. And I've got to say thank you to Dan, who is a patron from Vancouver, who recommended this area, which is the theme of this video, and I'll come back to it later. Not Dan isn't the theme, I mean the involving viewers. We'll see that later. Now, for those of you that follow me on Instagram, you'll know that if this was an Instagram story, I would be doing a dramatic super zoom right now. It's a taco place. Tacos Mexicanos, authentic. I can't do it in French, but you know what I mean. Authentic Mexican food. I'm not going to go there today because I'm not hungry, so we might go there in another video. Okay, it's time to walk and talk, amigos, and I've got a challenge for you. During this scene, I want you to count how many Canadians glare at the camera because it's weird that I'm doing this. Let me know in the comments. So this area very much is very residential, and the thing I love about it, it's very similar to Verdun, which is an area I stayed in last time, in terms of independent businesses and independent shops. It feels like it's a part, well, Montreal is a city in the world where independent businesses can still thrive. So you have salons, you have barbers with the red, white and blue pole thing out the front, you have old style greengrocers, news agents, you name it. And because of that, it feels like I've gone back in time 30 years to the UK, because that's what it was like back in the day. Yeah, yes, there are Tim Hortons, yes, there's a Subway, but those places are quite few and far between. You know, compare it to someone like Mexico with an Oxxo on every corner, or Tokyo with a Family Mart everywhere. That is not the case in Montreal. So it has that homely feel, and it allows you to really feel what the real Montreal is like, because it's not just about old Montreal and the tourist areas. And to illustrate my point, to add to the places you've seen already, you know, there's a bag shop over there, there's Jerry's Delicatessen there, there's a bistro, there's a cafe over there, yes, there's a dollar store, let's forget about that. I'm not quite sure what that yellow shop is, but yeah, there's no like franchises, they're all independent shops that you wouldn't see anywhere else. And in addition, there's a lot of clothing places as well down here that with, you know, providing clothing that you wouldn't get in like H&M or something. I've come off Ontario now. I'm walking down to the St. Lawrence. Yes, Montreal is effectively an island with the St. Lawrence River. And behind me, can we just point out some of the awesome houses down here? You know, the architecture is very different from other cities I've seen in the world. You know, you've got these columns, and what I love about houses in Montreal, you know, particularly like houses that are like flats, you know, that have a top and a bottom, and they have the stairs out the front going up. And I always remember when I was here the last time in the winter, you know, grit and shovels outside the front of the house to put on the steps because the snow was just diabolical. And that's one thing that Montreal does really good in the winter, is dealing with the snow, which, if any of you from the UK, you will know the UK does not do snow very well. It's diabolical. The country grinds to a halt. I've walked down a bit further now to near the water, and I've got a carton of milk from Couche-Tard. Yes, I drink milk out of the bottle. I know it's weird, but is that like a grain silo or something? Some kind of silo. It's absolutely huge. I love those kinds of buildings, like the industrial style, you know, and it looks a bit old as well, in terms of, like, it looks a bit dilapidated on the brickwork. And down there you've got shipping containers in the distance, docks. Right, we are now heading to the Olympic Park and also the Botanic Gardens. There's so much to see there. I'm walking down Sainte-Catherine. You'll notice that I've been practicing my French R's to no avail, as you've just heard. Apologies to any French speakers, but it's better than St. Catherine, right? Anyway, let's be real, you know, this channel isn't always about just saying that everywhere's amazing all the time and seeming like I'm working for the Montreal Tourist Board. I'm not, by the way, although if you want to work with me, send me a message. Anyway, yeah, so there is a lot of homelessness in Montreal, more than I expected, particularly when you come out to areas like Hochelaga that are more residential, and even in tourist areas, you know. And I have walked out of metro stations, been offered various drugs, which does happen, and it was weird in a way because I was in Mexico for so long. How many times did that happen? Never. Yet I come to Canada and it happens almost on a daily basis, and I'm not bashing Canada anyway for that, because a lot of countries are like that in the world. The UK is even worse, and it just I mean, it doesn't surprise me in a way, but I'm just talking about, you know, the stereotypes and prejudices about countries. A lot of people think that someone like Mexico, because of cartel, crime and everything, is full of drugs everywhere, but actually when you come to a country like this, or a city like this, you do find that it is full of it, because unfortunately, you know, things like that are transported from countries in Central America, South America, to places like Canada because people have more money to buy them. So that's just my thought of the day. So here we are at the Olympic Park, or the Parc Olympique. As you can see from this map, there are so many places to go. There's cafes, as I said earlier, there's a planetarium, a biodome, a botanical garden, an insectarium, as I mentioned before. So just take a look at this map and see where you can go. So the stadium, football stadium up there. We're in the Olympic Park, as I said, and I'm drinking again. The reason for that is because I almost passed out while I was filming last week. Dehydration is not good, and I've got to say, this Olympic Park I think is a good use of a former Olympic site, because when I think of others that I've been to, went to one in Calgary once, Sydney, Australia, that just felt like it was very barren and abandoned, and the one in London I believe has been converted into properties, a residential area. But there's so many different activities you can do here. You know, you could easily quite spend, you know, a day here going to all these different places. Jardin Botanique, Jardin Botanico, I'm guessing at the Spanish, botanical garden. Let's go. Okay, if you're watching this video in 2021, you can visit the Insectarium because it's closed for renovation until then, and the Biodome is also closed. But more importantly, I refuse to pay $20 to enter a garden. I have not been to any place in the entire world, Sydney, Chapultepec Park in Mexico City, where there's botanical garden, and you have to pay. I'm outraged. I probably should have looked this up beforehand, but you know, you don't expect to pay to enter a garden. Ridiculous. That's atrocious, it really is. And I might be coming across as an entitled millennial traveller, but $20 $20 to enter a garden? Really? $5, yeah, I would pay. And considering half the things are closed, shush. I don't know if you have to pay extra to get into them as well, but who knows? You know, and the thing is, I'm not a 1 week vacation tourist. I've been traveling for 3 years and I work online, so I have to budget with these things. You know, I've got a video coming up very soon, which is a food video, which is going to be expensive, so I have to prioritize in terms of recommendations, which brings me nicely onto my final point. Okay, awful lighting, let's go. I've got to keep this to 2 minutes because my memory is running out of my phone. And just to preempt any inevitable hate comments that I do get from idiots that are going to say, you know, oh, why did you go to Montreal if you haven't got any money? Why do you go there on vacation? I'm not on vacation, as I just said. You know, I have a budget. And just like you in your life, you know, you have a budget that you stick to and there's things that you would rather spend money on. So today is a perfect example of that. That's life. So in terms of the theme, recommendations and prioritizing, you know, when I was in Mexico, I used to receive so many recommendations from locals and just Mexicans in general about places where I should go. And I was honestly thinking that coming to Canada, that wouldn't be the same. However, the videos that I've uploaded so far have been inundated with so many recommendations from people in Montreal and Canada in general, so thank you very much for that. And today's a perfect example of that, because I would not have known about Hochelaga-Maisonneuve if it wasn't for Dan, and he knows and viewers know that I like to experience places that are the real city, you know, rather than those tourist places. However, it can be a blessing and a curse. In terms of a blessing, you know, it's great having all those recommendations because it opens me up to so many different places in a different side of a country or city. But it can be a curse because it puts a lot of pressure on me, and I know that's my job as a YouTuber and I should try and do as much as possible, but the reality is it's impossible. Today's a perfect example in terms of money, and you know, filming a video is not like sightseeing, you know, because it can take all day to film a video. I can film things over and over again to get them right, and I just simply don't have enough time. But regardless of that, I try to take all of these recommendations in the best way possible and try to satisfy you one way or the other. So on that note, thank you for watching. Stay tuned for the next couple of videos, jazz festival, food and more. Don't forget to subscribe and I'll catch you later. Oh, I got that done quite quickly. Well done me.